TED Talk, Music and the Inner Self, James Rhodes' focus was how music can lead to mindfulness. He spoke about how listening to classical music helped lead him through dark and depressing times in his life. When he describes listening to music as resonating in a place within himself between the mind and the heart, where the soul is. This connected with the audience because many people have had this experience with music. So many people can relate to this healing property that music has. Rhodes went into depth about how classical music has the power to change our moods and make us feel things without using any words. He mostly based his talk on his own experiences, though, and didn't reference many sources besides his own books. I think this is something that everyone can benefit from, but I think young people will benefit most from hearing a talk about the music that they grew up with, besides just classical music. How does modern music affect our emotions? What is it about a rap song that might move someone to tears? What about rock? In a study done at Ueno Gakuen University in Japan, researchers found that many people can feel a variety of emotions while listening to classical music, measured mainly focusing on happy and sad emotions. Subjects were played excerpts of piano sonatas by various classical composers, including Beethoven and Mozart, and they asked to rank how they felt while listening to the pieces. They found that certain scales evoked either positive or negative emotions in people. Many people tend to associate major scales with happier emotions and minor scales with more negative emotions. This study shows how the key a song is in can affect the overall mood. In another study conducted in 2015, researchers compared the arousal of Canadian listeners when played popular Western music with a Pygmy tribe and their arousal when played their own music. The results of the experience showed that the Pygmy tribe was more positively aroused when played their own music than the Canadian subjects. This may have been due to the diversity of Western popular music or how different cultures value different styles and aspects of music. Almost every culture has their happy and sad music, although it may sound completely different based on what may be associated with different emotions. Quote, particular pieces are often connected to significant personal memories, unquote. Throughout our lives, we may have emotional experiences, and while a specific song may not have been playing at the time, we may associate it with an event, therefore it brings up strong memories. For me, the song Saccharine by Attaboy always brings up feelings about my dad and how he ended up leaving my family and I, even though I didn't know the song at the time, and the lyrics tell a story about an alcoholic, which isn't what had happened with my own life. Leo Tolstoy, acclaimed author of War and Peace, was curious about what art was at its core. He came to the conclusion that art was a vehicle for feelings and emotions, and the more that a piece of art can transmit those feelings, the better it must be. I find this to be true in my own experiences. I tend to think that if a song can make me cry, it's a pretty good song. My favorite band, the Beatles, has many songs that can make me cry, which is one of the reasons I consider them my favorite band. Throughout the 19th century, philosophers and musicologists, including Charles Darwin, discussed how music was related to emotion. Everyone had their own theory, of course, but the majority agreed that music evolved from emotional language. There have been many modern psychological studies about how music directly impacts emotion in its listeners, and it has been difficult to find one clear answer. Researchers have found that music is processed through many different parts of the brain, which allows for great divergence in how each person may process a piece of music. While everyone has their own individual experiences and emotions related to music, and a definite answer has not been found yet, researchers have been able to find when somebody has a strong emotional connection to a piece of music, they remember it for up to 10 years when hearing the same piece of music, and therefore have a similar reaction. Music is something that everyone can find joy in. For me, it has gotten me through extremely dark times and has been there when nothing else was. It has guided me to where I am today, and I owe a lot to music. It means so much to me that 3 of my current tattoos are about music, and I definitely intend to get more throughout my life. There are times when there are lyrics that capture my attention about a song, and other times where it may be the melody, but every time, music never fails to get to the deeper parts of me. Thank you.